I want to get Kyler Murray, who's on one of these slumping offenses. The next offense that we're going to talk about is the Arizona Cardinals, which I also kind of wanted to pivot off of, like the terrible coaching in Chicago with the terrible coaching in Carolina with Kliff, Arizona with Kliff. And here we are. We got back to the Cardinals anyway, all through some awful through the superstar play of Tua Tagovailoa for 1 week and 1 week only. And Tua is a guy who's going to score 18 to 20 fantasy points, probably somewhere around there.
I was able to do that exact deal in the offseason. I packaged Tua Tagovailoa with Cam Akers, and I got Kyler Murray, which means I packaged Tua Tagovailoa and the Rams backup running back for Kyler Murray.
I don't know if you saw this week, though, that like Cam was actually the starter again.
Well, he didn't start, and he played less snaps. So,
Well, he got more touches.
Well, he did get more touches. I get he's a bit of a grabby guy, but I don't know. Play less snaps.
Anyway, let's pivot to the Cardinals.
Let's talk about Kyler. Cardinals. Yeah. Kyler and the
Cardinals, I think, are a pretty excellent buy low opportunity because two of the wide receivers aren't playing. And the other one is struggling, and Kyler is still making magic happen because that's what Kyler does.
Absolutely electric.
And I just like the offense sucks right now, and I just want all of it. And that's maybe wrong. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm super in on the Cardinals. I mean, we can be down on the Cardinals, but like their offense is still very helpful for fantasy production. Kyler, despite negative sentiment, I don't have the ranks in front of me. He's got to be in the top 8 quarterbacks so far. Like he's scored well both games. I understand that it all came in the fourth quarter. One of those was garbage time against the Chiefs. This one wasn't garbage time. I mean, he led them back and led a miraculous comeback win. Basically exactly what Tua did. Like, it's funny how different things are framed. Like, I understand Tua's game overall was more impressive, but like, I don't know, Tua played like total crap the whole first half. He threw 2 egregious interceptions. Then he played an absolutely incredible electric second half, led them to a miraculous comeback win on the road, and greatest quarterback of all time. Kyler, also played like pretty much crap for most of the game, and then he led them to an electric comeback win on the road. And nobody cares. I don't know. Maybe it's because Hunter Renfrow gave them a game with a fumble. But my point is, I think that Kyler is positively electric. And like I don't know. I'm pretty dubious of a lot of advanced passing metrics because I just think a lot of them are pretty noisy. But I mean, Kyler in like PFF grades and EPA and such, like last year, looked like a phenomenal passer, not just in terms of rushing. Like he looked like a truly phenomenal passer of the football. And I really think that everything he does is entirely in spite of his doorknob of a head coach in Kliff Kingsbury. Like he is so bad. I mean, it's so fascinating when you watch the Rams and the way that McVay just at will seemingly decides like, okay, I'm going to scheme this player into a touch on this given play. Like he knows that his best player is Cooper Kupp, and then he somehow gets him matched up one-on-one on linebackers and safeties on like 40% of his routes, right? Because he actually like looks over the game plan. He's like, okay, here's my weapons, and how do I get my weapons on your bad players? What Kliff does is he's like, all right, you line up to the left, you line up to the right, run some routes, hope you get open. Like that's the extent of his offense. Deandre Hopkins, I believe, ran like over 95% of his routes, I think, from just like the left flanker wide receiver position last year. It was just totally egregious. And with Marquise Brown, like he's not a Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson level talent where he's just going to go and potentially win on any situation. I mean, even those guys didn't yesterday. He's a really good player, but when he's the only good player, right, and DeAndre Hopkins isn't there right now, so there's nobody to take attention off of him naturally. When there's no one taking attention off of him naturally, and his coach isn't scheming him into any favorable matchups, he's probably not going to do much for you. And then you have Kyler trying to throw to AJ Green and Zach Ertz, who like I think like have been recalled from the morgue to play meaningful snaps for the Arizona Cardinals. And you're going to have a lot of disaster games. Like how many times have we watched Kyler scramble seemingly 70 yards around in the pocket just to like doink a perfectly placed throw off of AJ Green's arms? It was egregious. So I'm buying Kyler. Absolutely. I think he's one of the best buys in all formats of fantasy. He's like become quite a bit cheaper than Lamar. I wouldn't be surprised if you can even potentially get him cheaper than Hurts in some places after this week. And, you know, I love Jalen Hurts, but I feel even better about Kyler. And absolutely, if I have Herbert, I would 100% be trying to trade down to Kyler. If I have Burrow, I'd be trying to add not that much and get up to Kyler. You know, It's too bad that Dak isn't healthy right now and his market's in the tank. But when he's healthy and if he regains his value, I would also be trying to look to get him up into Kyler Murray. So I want Kyler Murray.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyler Murray, I just checked. He is the quarterback 6 on the year with 23.8 points per game thus far, and has been
he's awesome. Like he's always awesome.
Like the offense has been awful, and he's the quarterback 6. Wait until DeAndre Hopkins is back, and like I get Rondale Moore is a face planter, and we do not buy face planters in this house. However, we saw Greg Dortch do something in this offense. Like Rondale Moore is going to be more than Greg Dortch, without question. And DeAndre Hopkins may not be the DeAndre Hopkins of old, I will admit that, but he's better than AJ Green of current, and that's like the offense is going to be so much better in like 5 weeks.
Yeah. Do you want to guess what AJ Green's yards per target is this year?
I don't even want to know what that is because I can't count in negatives.
It's 2.64.
Oh my goodness. He should not be in the NFL. He should have retired. He's ruining his Hall of Fame reputation by playing well past his capabilities.
Yeah, it's Jimmy Graham all over again, right? It's like I call it the Meet the Fockers syndrome, where like Meet the Parents was actually a really like awesome movie, and also Robert De Niro had an incredible career. But then for people at a certain age and younger, they don't know Meet the Parents, they only know Meet the Fockers, and when they think of Robert De Niro, they think of like, look at here, Focker. And it's like, man, that's really sad that Robert De Niro did that and that people think of him that way. And like people will think of AJ Green as this incompetent, crusty old man running around on the Cardinals, and they'll think of Jimmy Graham like just being the guy who like can't move anymore, stealing touchdowns from other tight ends. And it's like, that sucks because they used to be really good.
It does suck. Jimmy Graham was like on Gronk level for many years.
Yeah.
And now he is on like Cole Kmet level, and that's just not pretty.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was stealing touchdowns from Cole Kmet, but this year would prove that nobody needs to steal anything from Cole Kmet. Has not yet registered a fantasy point.
Oh my god. Yeah, like there's just some offenses that just aren't doing well, and I'm just buying into them because I got faith that greener pastures are on their way.